Morning, everybody. I see Trish. Good morning with First Blood. All right. So my mom sent me a text message this morning. She says this was written by one of my Facebook friends, and I think you need to see it. So I'm going to read it. I'm going to read the post to you. Tulsi Gabbard is making her way to the top of my list of heroes. What she turned over to the DOJ takes the Democrats' ideas of politics to the justice system as treason. It's high time these politicians who committed crimes to gain and hold office are being dragged, kicking and screaming into the light of day. The entire Democrat Party is lawyering up, and they should. I'm not going to read the whole post because it's kind of more of the same, but it touches on what we're talking about this morning very nicely. I've got Mario here with me because
Good morning.
We're doing analytics, and we're basically what we're doing is the kind of analytics that's part of investigating a criminal conspiracy, which we used to do so that we could, kill IED makers. And I miss doing work where at the end of the job, you shoot a bad guy in the face.
Well, if that's how this story ends, I would not be disappointed. But I suspect that will not happen. But no, this is what we're looking at is everything let's all go back in a little time machine here, okay? Let's take a trip back to 2016 in the months after the election. It was November 3rd, November 5th, November 8th, whichever day the election was on. It's one of those 3 days. And the 3 months prior to, or 2 months prior to President Trump being inaugurated, it really sent the Washington, D.C., and the intelligence community kind of into a tizzy as to what we're going to do. Like, how could this happen? All right. Because even though they did eventually compromise Trump, okay, or basically lock him in essentially with forced cabinet positions, okay, forced and unforced, to get him essentially relatively under control to the point where the global American Empire's interests, okay, and continuity would still be advanced even under the Trump regime, okay, despite with some blowback and maybe not to the full extent that they wanted, which is why you saw when Biden took office, it was basically rapid reversal of everything Trump had done, and basically like the Obama years, essentially turbocharged because they lost 4 years. All right, it's like we joke. Project 2020 became Project 2030, right? From the world global, whatever.
The World Economic Forum.
World Economic Forum and the Davos crowd. Yeah, 2020 became 2030. Why? Because Trump. So what we are seeing
Jesus here, Christ, our major. Oh.
Okay, fair enough. I sanction that. Now, so what Gabbard released here? Okay, the key takeaway here is that what we all knew. We all knew that the Russiagate hoax, we all knew that the Russiagate scandal, okay, the Russiagate conspiracy was a hoax. Okay, well now it's revealed that the government itself knew that it was a hoax, but pushed it anyway because they wanted to cause maximum political damage to President Trump prior to his inauguration on January 20th. And it worked. Okay, they scored a number of two particular scalps that they scored due to this story was General Mike Flynn was no longer the director of national intelligence. And it was Mike Pence being the good little DC kleptocrat that he is went along with the new fallacious IC intelligence community assessment right away and told Trump that yeah, we have to get rid of this guy. General Mike Flynn was a kind of a standout flag officer. He was in charge of the Defense Intelligence Agency, and he was producing intelligence reports which were counter to the CIA and the NSA. All right, so he was already persona non grata within the senior levels of the intelligence community because he wasn't playing ball with their bullshit assessments. Yeah, you were saying.
And let me just say, Mike Pence And this is an alarmingly powerful statement in a world that includes Dan Crenshaw, the eye patch cuck. In a world that includes Dan Crenshaw, Mike Pence is probably the most alarmingly disappointing Republican that we've seen. Right? That's, elected Republican. I mean, I suppose we can exclude Christopher Wray from the category by saying elected Republican. But, we look at the Democrat Party, and they are clearly and obviously, to any intelligent, moral, decent human being, just evil. They're a party that is actively engaged in conspiracies to defraud the American people, whose primary platform positions include the murder and sterilization of our foregoing generations. But our bulwark against them is a GOP that includes people like John McCain, or included people like John McCain, includes cowards like Dan Crenshaw, like Mike Pence, like Christopher Wray. They get to call themselves conservatives and Republicans while actively serving the agenda of the enemies of the United States of America. And I'm not making an accusation here that these guys are in bed with Russia or China. No, they're in bed with one of our own domestic political parties, and thereby extension in bed with our foreign enemies, primarily the Chinese Communist Party. The treason is a word that comes to mind here. They're acting in direct opposition to the will of the people and the interests of the United States, and against the rules, the laws set down by the Constitution. They could not be less desirable living beings.
Yep. Well, Mike Pence is a rhino, okay, but Mike Pence is an extremely effective rhino because he has his personal discipline. His personal discipline essentially results in zero typical scandals, okay, surrounding his name. All right, you're never going to catch him. You're never going to catch him on Epstein Island. Okay, you're never going to catch him with another woman. All right, behind closed doors. The
Carlos
conventional
Cathedral says, "Happy birthday to me." Happy birthday, brother.
Yes. Bon compleanno. Now, and Crenshaw as well, okay, is a committed rhino, right? Or Dan Zyoclops Crenshaw, all right? Yes, they represent the Uni Party. Is what they represent. They represent the continuity of a government that was decided under the administration, or no, under the administration of Johnson, of Lyndon B. Johnson, following the assassination of JFK, that they were going to have essentially a uni party, and both sides were going to maintain the illusion of red team versus blue team. All right, and the idea that your vote, all right, could affect significant change, could actually change your life. All right, could change the destiny of the country. That was the idea. And both parties played their role essentially, as it was famously editorialized prior to the 2016 election, with the Democrats being essentially the Harlem Globetrotters and the Republicans being the Washington Generals, okay? Where it was essentially a setup where no matter what, in the end, progressive ideology was going to win, and essentially Marxism, soft Marxism, as you will, would be the rule of law going forward. Globalism would be absolute, okay? The market economy, all right, global supply chains, all of that would be paramount above all else, all right, for the ruling class going forward, and that the apple cart would not be tipped over by any means, and if it were to be shook, it would be shook on a stage with a gaffer and a best boy, and it would essentially be a production, all right, for you, or basically to convince you that there was some legitimacy left to our two-party political system.
That right there is a large part of the reason. In fact, it may be the entire reason that Donald Trump won 2 out of the 3 elections that he ran.
That is entirely why he won. Okay?
Now, to be clear, that's not why he won in 2016. That's why he won in 2020 and in 2024.
No,
In 2016, he won. He won because Hillary Clinton was awful. Michael Moore actually got this one exactly right. Donald Trump was going to win in 2016, right? Michael Moore gave a speech before the 2016 election. He said, Donald Trump's going to win this year because you guys have pissed America off. You fucked up too much stuff. They're mad about it. And when they look at Donald Trump, they see a Molotov cocktail. They see a hand grenade that they can throw directly into the White House. He won in 2020 and 2024 on a record that showed America this guy is actually different from the uniparty you're accustomed to, right? Clinton was strong on border security and strong on, he at least talked a big game about being strong on crime, especially crime committed by minorities, right? And that was when Biden was doing his whole racial jungle, and Hillary Clinton was real hard on the idea of super predators. Basically, the Democrat Party, circa the Clinton administration, was like professionally anti-black, they ran the crack cocaine scam on them. Then you get to George W. Bush, and he gives us this whole line about
compassionate
conservatism. And let's not forget, everybody's favorite Republican, Ronald Reagan, gave us the amnesty bills that essentially created the immigration crisis in this country. It took a burgeoning immigration crisis and codified California into a permanent blue state, right? That was Reagan. It was, and I think he did it in good faith and was taken advantage of there. And then the other thing that I wanted to touch, Mario, you mentioned that Trump was forced to put certain people in place in 2016, and I'm going to disagree with you there. And what I have to say on this is actually
it's not that he was forced. It's that you're given like a set number of options. Okay, the options that you have to choose from are pre-gamed. All right. So in the end, you're going to get shit ice cream. Okay.
And that's where he made the mistake.
Are you going to have poo chunks in it? Okay.
That's where he made the mistake. This time around, he was willing to go where he wanted to go to make the appointments. Now, there are still limitations, right? You can't tap Chris Lowry to be the new DNI. Nobody knows. I'm not sufficiently well known, and my record only extends so far. And the extent to which my record does extend is largely classified. Lowry can't be the new DNI, right? And that's I'd be a generous example there because I actually have experience in the field. My point is there are limitations, but in 2016, he didn't make any direct hiring choices beyond people would make recommendations and he accepted the recommendations. Well, all of the recommendations were being made essentially by the enemies of the United States of America, right?
Always were.
When Obama came in and when Biden came in, they fired everybody and put sycophants in. They put yes men in place.
And ideologues. Yeah. No, you're correct. Now, I push back a little bit. Trump won in 2016 specifically because people had lost faith in the two-party system. Okay. Let's take a look. We had Bush as president. Okay, then a Clinton as president, then another Bush as president, and now you're being offered another Clinton as president. Okay, that was not inspiring to the American people. That was the illusion of an American gentry essentially was being shattered, and they're basically showing you it's the same ruling coalitions that are going back into office every time. All right, it's starting to look like
we basically had 30 years of dynastic politics.
Yeah, exactly. It was starting to look like European bullshit parliamentary politics, where the decrepit motherfuckers like Angela Merkel can hold office for 15 years, okay, and essentially destroy her country. So Donald Trump was a rebellion. It was people wanted a revolution. It was a brick through the window of the White House. All right. President Trump won in 2020 because people were offered a binary choice. It was riots, madness, and racial communism, or no, that's crazy.
Right.
And people chose no, that's crazy. Unfortunately, the will of the people was subverted from a myriad of directions. And that 2020 election would be that would be a deep dive right there for the books. Okay, talk 3 hours and 45 minutes. We're just getting started. And then Trump won, and Trump won in 2024
Yeah.
as a result of extremely bad record, insane record of the Biden administration. Okay, and then they're saying like, okay, let's we're going to remove Pudding Brain. Okay, who's essentially a puppet, a Caligula rubber stamping the destruction of the empire, and now we're going to put his like basically the half-witted diversity hire with the same fucking people in charge. No, I don't think so. Okay, that's why that election was over by 10 p.m. that night. Once you saw
the plan with Kamala was essentially to bolt the auto pin to her back so she could just hold it up while she was being spit roasted by the enemy.
I don't think they ever thought they had a chance to win that election. It was,
no, you're right.
Kamala was burn a negative asset.
Yep.
We don't need her anymore. Might as well burn that asset.
Get it gone.
Okay?
Get it gone.
Get it gone. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now
all right,
back to
No, go
back
ahead.
to this. But yeah,
back to the article.
Russiagate thing. Okay, so what it's been revealed, it's just like everything. Okay, like every big release. Okay, every big investigation in Washington, D.C. that exposes something. All it ever does is confirm what you already knew. Okay. How many times has your gut instinct really been wrong when it comes to national politics? Usually not. American people are, well, I mean, they're playing such a stupid game in D.C. that anyone with any common sense could see right through it. Okay, it's just you can't do anything about it, or you can't prove it, or you can't get anyone indicted, and nobody gets charged. Okay, there's no accountability. We live in a system where there is no accountability whatsoever for the individuals in office. Look at the Franklin scandal, look at Epstein, etc. Okay, it's just a confirmation of what you knew. So the people, President Obama, at the very end of his presidency, and his inner circle of intelligence community leaders knew that there was no Russian interference. And yet they pushed the story anyway and leaked bullshit intelligence to the media. And it basically it all culminated. And they took the scalp of Mike Flynn as Director of National Intelligence, and they neutered Jeff Sessions, who was Trump's Attorney General, right from the start. Before Trump even took office, his top IC guy, okay, and his Attorney General were removed from the chessboard. So it was very effective. And we know that it was complete bullshit now, and it's provable. So this all culminated, of course, in the famous Robert Mueller report, which was like a two-year meme or 18-month meme from the political left that there was basically Trump's done for now, TikTok Trump. And then we famously remember when that report was released and Robert Mueller was presented before Congress, and the man was stuttering and couldn't answer a single question about a 200-page roll of toilet paper that his team put together for him. That's when America finally realized, like, oh, okay, so it's complete bullshit. But the media didn't talk about it after that. It was like, okay, well, nothing to see here. So, I mean, I've been saying since the first administration that Donald Trump deserved a refund on the first 2 years of his first term. Okay. Truly does. And if Trump weren't so old and weren't in declining health, I would say give it to him. Okay, so I guess that's a good. I guess we gave the intro and the recap before getting to the story because I'm sloppy. But yeah, we can pull up that article now, Trump or Chris.
So betrayal of every American. Barack Obama now squarely in Russiagate crosshairs. This article is from just a couple of days ago out of Zero Hedge. New disclosures from a Tulsi Gabbard-led working group point directly to the top as the legacy of hope and change begins to plunge to the ocean floor. Now, let's say this real quick about everybody involved in this conspiracy. Obama, Hillary Clinton, obviously that ties in Bill Clinton, James Clapper, you got Mike Pence, everybody involved in this massive conspiracy to defraud the American people. Actually, with the exception of Mike Pence, is clearly and obviously guilty of an additional crime.
Mike Pence is it's sin by omission. Okay, he did nothing to help. But anyway, he wasn't actively involved.
I think by the time we get through this information, we'll show pretty clearly that a big part of the problem is that the "I did nothing to help" is very, very helpful when what you're doing is actively repressing information.
Yeah.
But you got Clapper perjured himself long before this all happened. Perjured himself over the question of spying on the American people while he was ODNI.
That's right. But he was ODNI up until the end. He already perjured himself over the Snowden exposed PRISM scandal, where the NSA essentially had a passive metadata collection program on all telecommunications within the country. Okay, within the United States, to obviously include U.S. persons, which is a big no-no. Okay.
Yes.
I was even in support of it at that time because I was working in the IC, and I kind of I had a really good analogy to kind of explain it. But was it constitutional? No, it's not. So anyway.
Yeah, and we've talked on the show before about how I'm almost a Fourth Amendment absolutist, but the fact is that that's one where the enemy is able to abuse our goodwill. That's a very complex issue to discuss.
Yeah.
And it presents us a very dangerous and significant national security vulnerability if not properly considered. It is something that the enemy has exploited to great effect over time.
There's the First Amendment, okay, from 1776, ostensibly, and there's the modern digital communications network, which is global. Okay, there's a lot of space between those two that has to be carefully crafted. All right, to ensure that there's a correct linkage between them. You know what I mean? So it's not quite that simple.
No, so let's not get spun off on that. Hey, just we could discuss each individual amendment on its own as a single Saturday evening special. Yeah. So Obama entered national politics with a smile that looked like hope and change amid rumors of family discord and disarray. When the political party he once led, his face is hardened. He lately looks bitter, resentful, exhausted by the act. Yes, he do. That's one thing. The presidency ages people, right?
Yeah.
Remember what Obama looked like from the time he went in to the time he came out? He looked like 30 years had passed in those 8. It didn't do that to Trump the first time around.
And go back to that photo. You can tell that the wages of sin have grown deep within him because his skin's gotten darker.
Yeah. In the wake of reports released by fellow Hawaiian and former Democrat Tulsi Gabbard, he also has a new problem. It once seemed a lock that Obama would be remembered as the winsome hero of Shepard Fairey's portrait, but Gabbard's documents place him at the center of an unprecedented act of political sabotage committed in his last Oval Office days as a humiliated lame duck in the winter of 2016 to 2017. The new director of national intelligence is targeting Obama's legacy and maybe even his freedom, detailing a, quote, treasonous conspiracy committed by officials at the highest level of our government, announcing that everyone involved must be investigated and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Okay. I've got another one here that I think I like. This one? Yes. So
this one's more concise. Exactly.
The new note from Tulsi, note on Trump Russia disclosures. This is Matt Taibbi. And Matt, I'm sorry, I know this is your Substack. I don't mean to. Y'all go check out Matt Taibbi.
Yes, it's simple. Subscribe
to
Matt Taibbi on Substack. There you
go. Exactly.
That's all you got to do.
And we're not going to read this whole article, but I want you to see. So it's been rumored all week. We're going to look at the screenshots here. So this is from an official report, an official intelligence report, and they said explicitly, we assess that foreign adversaries did not use cyber attacks on election infrastructure to alter the U.S. presidential election outcome this year. We're talking about 2016, when Trump is alleged to have colluded with Russia in order to steal the 2016 election. We have
This
no
is
evidence. We have no evidence of cyber manipulation of election infrastructure intended to alter results. This is before.
That's right. This is the initial feelers put out after the election. Okay, so we're talking about around like late November time frame. That was the IC's
early
assessment.
December, 8 December 2016.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
That did not impact memo. Exactly the opposite of what the Obama White House would claim a month later. Never reached the public thanks to the intervention of a senior official in Director of National Intelligence James Clapper's office. So this is pulled from the president's daily brief. The president was explicitly briefed. That's Barack Obama at the end of 2016, right? He would have explicitly briefed by the do what?
Or he would have been. They pulled this from the presidential daily brief. Okay. So it was, we assessed that Russian and criminal actors did not impact recent U.S. election results by conducting malicious cyber activities against election infrastructure. Okay. And then it was, but this was pulled after, here, scroll down a little bit, scroll down a tiny bit so my head's not in the way. Deputy Director of the ODNI, they redacted it, but we can look that up easily. Okay. So then the Deputy Director of the ODNI, okay, the guy in charge of publishing the Presidential Daily Brief, which is like kind of the intelligence product of intelligence product. It's the top secret news that the president and his administration get to read every day. All right. If you work within the IC, especially if you specialize in like reporting, if that's your thing, and that's what I did. That's what I was best at in the IC, was reporting. Okay. You give me a bunch of like raw traffic, okay, and I can write you an awesome report with analyst notes and everything. Now, so that's the job of jobs you could get within the IC if you're a reporter. Now, Deputy Director of ODNI pushed out that based on some new guidance, we're going to push back publication of the PDB. It will not run tomorrow and likely not run until next week. Okay, so they already had concluded that there was no Russian conclusion. Okay, this was going to go in the brief that the president and his administration get to read every day. All right, on December 8th, but they yanked that line of reporting from the PDB intentionally. Okay, and so we go on December 9th.
Yeah. So on the following day, December 9th, 2016, members of Obama's National Security Principles Committee, including Clapper, CIA Director John Brennan, Susan Rice, John Kerry, Brian McKeon, Loretta Lynch, Andrew McCabe, and Avril Haines, gathered for a meeting after which each received an email titled POTUS Tasking on Russia Election Meddling. The email tasked the members with the creation of a new assessment per the president's request. From that moment forward, intelligence officials began leaking blatantly false information about a non-existent secret assessment that Russia intervened to influence the outcome of the election. This leaking continued unabated until January 6th, when a new, hastily crafted intelligence community assessment was released, triggering a series of developments that led to the publication of the Steele dossier and an explosion of media stories linking Trump and Russia in an unprecedented scandal. And if you'll remember, this back then, this is when Adam Schiff was constantly saying, "We've got the receipts. It's all secret because it's intelligence community product. It's all got to be, caged behind the TSSCI door for safety, for security. But we've got the evidence. Trump absolutely colluded with Russia. That's not in controversy. That's not even a question. We know that for sure. He said that to us over and over and over again, right?" And now, of course, it turned out later that was a lie. That was a lie that he repeated over and over and over again. Now, Schiff was not the only one, but he was the most aggressive, frequent offender.
For 2.5 years,
yep.
Effectively crippling an American president. 2.5 years. And it was complete bullshit. That's your key takeaway. Complete bullshit. Used to stymie an administration for 2.5 years. Trump, if you remember, as far as like action taken by the president on his key campaign promises, okay, that didn't really start until 2019. All right. So anyway, but right. So December 9th, Obama and those key individuals that we listed there, Clapper, Brennan, okay, et al., representing the top of the State Department, the CIA, the FBI, okay, and the intelligence and the basically the NSA, all right,
Right.
came to the conclusion that let's rewrite it, okay, let's try again, okay, let's try to make this stick, even though we don't have anything, all right, and the important thing is we are going to maintain like a slurry of defamation against the president and against his administration through constant intentional leaks to the media. All right, which if you remember, well, you don't have to remember. Like turn on the news. The mainstream media has only tried walking back their hatred of Trump. All right, this year was when they finally broke and realized like it's hopeless. We lost. Okay, we lost, and we're discredited. Our ratings are in the tank. No one is watching us anymore. We're losing core demographics, and everyone's looking to alternative media to get information that they can trust. Okay, so in a small way, we're part of that, and I'm proud of that. All right. So then on December 9th, after that meeting, Obama issues a presidential directive. So Obama did this. You need to understand that. Obama did this. Obama did it intentionally, knowing that it was false. Okay? Issued basically presidential, he updated his CIRs, okay, his command intelligence requirements, to include basically, I want everything about Trump and Russia that you could possibly get me, and make it sensational. Constant leaks to the media of essentially bullshit assessments, intentional leaks from the IC, and a fake weaponized assessment, and the initiation of a special counsel, which you can thank Adam Schiff for. Okay, Adam Schiff standing up there with his
and
like a poor man's pedophile Joe McCarthy, like I've got the names.
Alex points this out, and this is important to remember.
That's true. Yeah.
This resulted in an impeachment.
100%.
This entirely contrived, and this wasn't just manufacturing fake stories. They went out of their way to tell us things that were literally 180 degrees diametrically opposite to the truth of the matter. They were essentially getting intelligence reports that said, like we just covered here a second ago, there is no evidence to suggest that Russia or anybody was involved in tampering with election infrastructure in 2016. There's no evidence to suggest that they even had that capability. And so the report we get was they absolutely, totally did this thing. Intelligence reports that were diametrically opposed to the truth were used to cobble together an absolute hoax in order to create the impeachment scenario. And don't forget, today, we have a half a dozen Democrats filing, separately different complaints, different articles of impeachment on psychotic shit. Right? Al Green filed for dastardly deeds,
dirty deeds done dirt cheap.
It's like you just want to tell him, Al, I'm sorry to tell you, man, but the Donald, I don't think he does anything cheap.
Fucking go back to Houston, you and your greasy ass bell pepper nose, you fucking freak.
No shit.
But
brother, I hate to do it, but I'm gonna have to go ahead and wrap it up. So you got any closing thoughts?
Yes. Okay. It's not just the impeachments. Okay. It's not just the impeachment that this resulted in. Okay. Let's take it a step further. Okay. We've been at a proxy war with Russia for like two and a half years at this point, like going on 3 years. Would the impetus for that have existed if the perception in the American public's mind was not that like Russia was trying to essentially commandeer our democracy, okay, and subvert the American public? Think about that.
I'll take that.
There's layers of meta here.
I'll take that even a step further. Between shutting down the Keystone XL, funding the Nord Stream 2 pipeline,
And then blowing it up.
Well, and it looks like it was actually the Ukraine that blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. But it wouldn't surprise me at all to learn that they had done that at the behest of the Biden administration and Biden's CIA, or through a cutout through USAID, for example. That's how those things get done. But basically, I'll take it a step further from what you were saying. Not only do I think it's the case that we would not see the Russia-Ukraine problem we see today if things had gone differently, if it had not been for this coup. I would go so far as to say that the obvious money laundering operation that is being conducted by the National Democrat Party through Ukraine, and by proxy through our government, laundering U.S. tax dollars into the pockets of Volodymyr Zelensky and essentially every Democrat currently holding or campaigning for office, given those coupled with the revelations about the manufacture of the narrative, I don't think a reasonable person could argue anything other than the entire Russia-Ukraine conflict was intentionally manufactured by the Democrat Party as a profit maneuver.
And Israel, but that's a deep dive. That's a Saturday night subject. And my final...
Yeah, go ahead, and then I do have to put a pin in this.
Yes. Now my final closing thought. Okay. It seems like there's a... Wow, it's kind of funny that this story comes up. You know, everyone's shitting on Trump, okay, because he won't release the truth about Epstein, and Trump's like, "Hey, look, Obama," you know, you know what I mean? Now, that may be the case, but there's actually meat to the story. This is an actual scandal, okay? So, I guess take the W's that are take the W's, okay, that can be extracted from the shame of the L, all right, and take them for what they're worth. Now, I really, as we've said before, if not Trump, who? If not now, when? If these people are not going to be arrested,
the answer to those questions is no one.
No one will be. Then no one ever will be.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. All right, guys. Thanks for watching today. Y'all be safe out there. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow.